Jrue Holiday, Dan mentioned this in the headlines a little bit. Jrue Holiday is officially being shopped by the Pelicans, according to Shams. Several contending teams are reportedly pushing for the point guard. 5 Reasons Sports, Greg Sylvander is reporting that the Heat would not include Tyler Herro in the deal for Jrue Holiday, who makes just over $25 million this year, has a player option for next year at $26 million. But they would not do they would not send their young buck over to the Pelicans for Jrue Holiday, which I wouldn't do either. I mean,
agreed.
Jrue Holiday is 31 years old. He's a really good player, and it's really funny if you. I like the podcast All the Smoke with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. They always ask like who's the most underrated player, and they have a montage of literally every guest of theirs saying Jrue Holiday. So Jrue Holiday is the respect of everybody. Has the respect of Jimmy Butler, but I don't know if adding a point guard as good as he is defensively two ways. One, I still think that he could get to the finals if they come back with the crew that they had next year. And I don't know, like I think in these scenarios, does Jrue Holiday, like do you win that finals last year with Jrue Holiday? Maybe you do, but I think you also have a better chance of winning if you have a healthy Goran Dragic. And I don't know. And if would you rather have your crew back, Tyler a year older, Goran healthy, or you give up real assets and you have Jrue Holiday? Now, if you could do it where you're not giving up those things, if you're giving up a first round pick and you're making the salaries work, yeah, okay. Especially if you're taking on, if you're risking the lack of flexibility in 2021 because you're risking the essentials of him opting in and taking your oars out of the Giannis game.
Here's what the way you have to look at this. If I had Jrue Holiday and I eliminate Rondo, does that make a difference?
Nah, I don't think so.
No?
Nah, I don't
because
think so.
I think those games.
Well, maybe it does, but my question would be if I would have just had Goran Dragic, because they didn't have Goran Dragic in that series. If they would have if they would have just had Goran Dragic in that series, is it just as competitive than you having to give up stuff for Jrue Holiday next year?
No, because as much as I like Goran, he's not stopping. He's not stopping Rondo.
Yeah, but did you really feel like the difference was the Lakers point guards, or was it their size?
It was their size, but at the same time, it was the others, mainly Rondo, that hurt you at the worst possible times, right? If you you're not going to stop LeBron. You're not going to stop AD. You're going to stop the other guys, okay? Now, the problem is this. There's points in that game where the Lakers could go so big that you're thinking we need more size. So if you go that route, then you do whatever you can to get Giannis. Because Giannis is going to either, one, be able to guard AD, right? Or two, put some pressure on them to guard him. So, yeah, I think Giannis, you could put Giannis on AD. You could put Giannis on LeBron. He has the feet to be able to do that. But if you're not going to create size, and so here's how I'm looking at this. If you're not going to do anything to get bigger, because, the Heat have said, look, we're fine the way we are. They're just going to be small. Then the only other thing I can think of to improve the team is perimeter defense. Defense first. Like, you have scoring. You're going to always have scoring. But if you can put another two-way player on the court, it opens up what you can do on the defensive end, thus creating more opportunities on the offense.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. I just think that if they're going to get that two-way guy, I'd rather him be somebody who can also help at the rim than even on the wing. Because I think
you would rather them go bigger. That's just a conversation.
I'm taking it from I'm just taking it from the stand of where we just were at. This team was 2 wins away from winning the championship, and I just thought the main difference was the size. I didn't feel like it was. And I know Rondo had some excellent moments in the series for them, but Rondo's taking advantage of children out there. I do think that even with Goran not being a defensive stopper, I do feel like it's a difference, because even on the other end, I feel like Goran is going to cook some people on the other end, and that almost evens you out a little bit more, and they weren't able to have that.
Okay. Like, if, I said it before, and I've asked, look, if there's one thing that I wish the Heat had was some size, and every time they tried to put size in, it got demolished.
Yep.
So if I had to, regardless of who it is, if I had to add a player to make a difference, it would be somebody with some size, but there aren't too many of those guys, right? There are not a lot of guys who are going to do what you need them to do and be a big at the same time.
So, final results on our poll, Leroy. The polls have closed on maybe one of our most closely contested polls of all time. Is Tyler Herro untouchable? Almost 2,700 votes. 51% say not untouchable. 49% say untouchable. And basically that means that Baby Goat can now claim that he's untouchable, because that's how it works. If it's 50-50, you can claim something. So Tyler Herro can claim that. Now I wanted to bring in Pelicans general manager Dan Day here. Pelicans fan. Can I dub you a fan? A New Orleans native. Is it fair, Dan, to call you a Pelicans fan?
I'd call me a super fan, actually. I watch every game.
All right. Well, let's do some business here. You got Jrue Holiday on the block. David Griffin, your GM. Stan Van Gundy, your coach. All right, so, what do we got to do here to pry Jrue Holiday away from the old Pels?
Ooh, that's a really, really good call. Let's see.
Can I interest you in a little Kelly Olynyk? Maybe a little Andre Iguodala, a little veteran leadership, and maybe sprinkle it. Maybe I'm not ready to. Maybe we could. Maybe I could talk you into a little Kendrick Nunn.
So Herro's completely off the table.
Look, Baby Goat, he's just balling out. I don't know if I can do that, Stan. I'm sorry. I don't know if I can pull the trigger on giving you guys Baby. You don't listen. He won't fit in there anyway. You guys got Lonzo Ball. You got Zion. What are you guys gonna do with Baby Goat? He's a head case. He's got the drip. You guys won't want him in that locker. I'm doing you a favor.
Can we get a partnering up of maybe airplane mode with either Goran or what do you call it? Tyler Herro?
You know what? I actually don't think Derek Jones Jr. would be a bad trade piece for them, but I don't think they can't trade him. He's a free agent, so that's unfortunate.
Isn't Gogi a free agent also?
Yeah, Gogi's a free agent too.
So they can't be considered for any trades.
It's tough because he's a great two-way player, Jrue Holiday. The only problem is he's getting a little bit older, long of tooth on a team that's especially really, really young. So
long of tooth is such a hard term for a guy.
Man, man, you'd like to get a young piece. Maybe what if we do this? What if we get your 20th pick and we get Tyler Herro?
Okay, listen. Listen, Stan. I gotta go. All right.
Oh.
This is why they call you the master of panic. I gotta go. I see you. You lost me. Lose my number. Because we're using that 20th pick, Leroy. I have just dubbed in. I have dialed into. This is very exciting. NBADraft.net. Okay.
All right.
It's a big website if you're a .net. They have the 2020 mock draft up. And this is the official mock draft. And at number 20, the Miami Heat select 6'10" power forward center from Duke, Vernon Carey Jr. Burn for Vern!
Will you stop?
Very excited. Oh, I was listening to the scouting report, Leroy. Big man value is at an all-time big time value in this draft is at an all-time low, and there aren't going to be too many true centers getting legitimate looks in the lottery. However, with all eyes on wings and guards in the 2020 draft, a player might slip through the cracks and outplay his pick position is Duke freshman Vernon Carey Jr., dominating the star-studded Atlantic Coast Conference, averaging 18 points, 9 rebounds in his lone college season. Carey is a stat stuffer who proved he can contribute consistently. Teams at the top of the draft will look for a potential franchise changer. While the star potential might not be entirely present with Carey, he provides something different, an NBA-ready game. He is prepared to step in tomorrow, get a few contested rebounds, finish plays at the rim, and certainly isn't offered from players at the draft range. If a front office is looking to swing for the fences, Vernon Carey Jr. might not be their guy, but if an organization is looking to hit a single or double to round out a rotation, he may be the perfect piece.
All right.
Goosies. You want to hear what his strengths are?
Rebounding and just being big.
Strength. One of Carey's biggest strengths is strength.
Oh, my God. Stop.
What?
Moving on.
That's what the scouting report says.
What?
Standing 6'10", weighing 270 pounds, Carey is a mountain of a man, and he makes the most of it. Unlike some similar-sized bigs who float around the perimeter, Carey knows his role and embraces it, hanging out in the dunker spot to receive a drop-off pass and finish strong. He has a set of hands that allows him to catch some tough passes, and it also means that he can finish at the tin. I love that term, finish at the tin.
I'm not listening to that guy any longer. He said his strength is strength.
He did say that. It's NBA.com. What's this dude's name?
Still.
Who wrote this? Eric Fawcett. And he has, he has Minshew hair. Let's see. What makes his interior scoring so intriguing to the modern game is that teams won't be able to consistently switch smaller players onto him. Big men without the ability to score on smaller players on the block. He has made switching defenses so prevalent in today's game. That won't be the case with Carey. He has the ability to punish switches by overpowering his opponent before finishing with grace. Right. Hey, I'll tell you the thing that I love about it is, look, if Bam's going to be the modern big, I'll take a traditional big to compliment him. Burn for Vern?
But that's
big
what
boy?
I mean. Like, you have to be sure that Bam is ready to play outside a little bit more if you're going to do that. Otherwise, you're going to clog up the paint.
Not year one, though. Like, year one will probably come off the bench anyway, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Little Tyler Herro to burn for Vern, Leroy. Little dumps. You saw how Tyler was getting good at those alley oops too, handling the ball. So a little second. How about this? You get a little two rotation with Baby Goat and burn for Vern. I'm getting the goosies thinking about it, man. Arguably the best pure rebounder in his class, Carey is somebody who's willing to do the dirty work to come up with the ball. Not a tremendous leaper who can't simply outjump his opponents. Carey is fundamentally sound on the glass, disciplined when it comes to boxing out.
He's 6'10", 270. He could tippy-toe and dunk. Stop talking about leaping ability.
Yeah, well, listen, there's some people out there, they had the big frame, but Leroy, but they don't play to their size.
All right. Dirk was a 7-footer. I don't ever remember him dunking.
Has there ever been I wonder if there's ever been an NBA player whose dad was an offensive lineman. That's such a I mean, we've heard NBA players, obviously their dads have played in the league. We've heard
Grant Hill.
Grant Hill's dad what?
Wide receiver.
His dad was a wide receiver?
For the Cowboys.
I didn't know that. But offensive line?
I know. That's what I'm trying to think.
That's so crazy. We know Patrick Mahomes' dad was a baseball player.
Well, let's be fair. He is built like an offensive lineman.
I know, but 6'10". His dad was not small.
No.
His dad was not small.
Vernon Carey is a monster of a man.
Monster of a man that on a line that also had McKinney, who was even bigger than him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, those were the days. Anyway.
I had a big offensive line, too, when I was in Michigan.
Did you?
Yeah, average. We had Greg Strapnick, who was like 350. Probably average 330.
Oh, yeah?
And we had a smaller center. And then when Everett took over, Ev was over 300.
Jeez. How about this? So on the Bill Simmons podcast with Ryan Russillo.
Oh, well, you just set yourself up. Here we go.
What? This has nothing to do with the Heat. Nothing to do with the Heat, I promise.
Okay. Go.
They say Gordon Hayward, according to Russillo, he wants out of Boston.
Of course.
He wants to leave. He wants to leave Daddy Brad.
It's not that.
Oh, I think it's that.
It's not that. It's more. It's more of an issue of there's not enough basketballs, and clearly he thought he was going to be the guy.
Nope.
And Tatum is the guy.
That's right.
Right? And if Tatum is not the guy, then who's the other guy?
Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown.
And then Marcus
So he's
Smart's. We know Marcus Smart's going to take his shots.
Right. So he's third or fourth on the list, and partly because he was banged up, and they figured a way to do it without him. So, like, yeah, it's just a tough break.
Look, it's just
Who
interesting.
wants him? Who wants that? Who wants him?
You reap what you sow, Gordon Hayward. You know, you
didn't know he was going to
shun
roll his ankle sideways.
No. Just so we're clear. You know, you shunned the Godfather. All right, your family disrespected him, saying, "Who is that old man?" You know, and now it's just interesting that you went and you were trying to be Peter Pan and go play with the Lost Boys over in Boston, go back to your college head coach, and now look where you are, wanting out. And by the way, it's got to be something for the Sullys and Murphs not to like you. You know they love intangibles. They love intangibles. They're also the other thing that came out of this. This was hotly contested yesterday, by the way. Russillo said that the worst kept secret in the league is that Devin Booker is unhappy in Phoenix and wants out. Now, there was a Phoenix radio host. His name is John Gambadoro, who has been hosting in Philly for hosting in Phoenix for over 20 years. He says of this, 100% not true. Book is happy in Phoenix, excited for the season, loves how they finished in the bubble, excited about free agency. Not one time has he ever told anyone he wanted out. Don't listen to this garbage. Now listen, John, love you. John, Gambo, okay? Here's the thing, though. Why would he say something? You send Ravens to do this type of stuff. You send it through the streets. It's adorable. This guy also, by the way, reported that Giannis is expected to sign the Supermax next week, which obviously isn't true because it was reported yesterday that he would be willing to sign long-term with Miami. So this dude's got his facts all over the place. You don't know what he's talking about.
I got you.
Calm down, Gambo.